Ola has taught us quite a lot if you've been here. Managing your expectation, emotional intelligence, how to control our emotions. Back in the day, if I'm doing this show, the way I will come for that freeze.
Man of prestige. Ha! Now this guy win. Now you win. Now you win today. Now you win. I agree. Man of prestige. Now man you be.
I'm sure some people will be jealous now the way I talk about Ola. But I have learned a lot from him. That's why I keep telling you to follow him. If you don't follow Man of Prestige, now you know.
Yeah, we find her, the beautiful girl we've been missing. We wanna have her kissing. We find her, now we in love. Say Gosso, the remix.
DMB, Tux Bites, remix.
Now if I had to lose you like a bad phone connection, I'd change my game to get a better reception. Sit back, let's start this interaction. Don't fight the feelings, just a chain reaction. Your heart won't give you the wrong instructions. Like my GPS, yes, I got the right direction. We gotta merge together like a road intersection. Last stop is gonna be my love and affection. I ain't like the mother dudes, they wanna call you shorty, but I'ma call you a beautiful girl. I took your picture home, my mama saw it, she's a very, very beautiful girl. I wanna put you in my video, cause you're so beautiful. You're a beautiful girl. So when you hear us in your radio, turn up your stereo. It's beautiful girl.
Gotta find a shorty, what's worth of a lady. It's nice, but maybe doesn't look like 40. It's taking a little time. I wasn't seeing no signs, any traces of my baby. Who's gonna be my baby? But I thought I'm gonna take my time. Within it took a long fun eye. I saw a shorty passing by. She's got this very pretty smile. It was right at the train station. I tried to make a conversation, holding her arms, feeling so tough. I felt the sensation. It's been a while that I've been trying to find a beautiful girl. And now I realize I found me a beautiful girl. She's a model, she's so fine. I just wanna take it by. Beautiful girl. Sparkling eyes are killing tight. I found me a beautiful girl.
Body me LP, oh yeah,
My wish came true when I saw you, girl. God must have blessed me with your beauty, girl. Looking so right from your head to your toe. Shaped like a cocoa bottle with a smile of a queen. My queen to be, you my destiny. Got a body of a goddess with your beauty. I'm impressed and I'm never in distress. Come on over and be mine. Been searching for a man and now all the cats keep looking to mine. With a sexy walk and a sexy talk. She must be from a planet called the sexy world. I know I ain't tripping, better yet I'm thinking put a ring on the finger. We look good together. Take your place in my heart. With your beauty I'ma say that I'll never turn away. Who would think I'm in love? So the way she smiles at me just really makes me weak. The way she speaks to me just really make me go so weak. Keep staring in her eyebrows. All I kept on saying is wow. If you touch as a breeze at night, all I really want in my life. Oh yeah, it's been a while that I've been trying to find a beautiful girl. Fine brown eyes. I found me a beautiful girl. She's my model, she's so fine. I just wanna take it. Beautiful girl. Sparkling eyes, killing tight. I found me a beautiful girl. Yeah, beautiful girl. What beautiful girl, yeah. Beautiful girl.
Damn. Money. You seen her? Hot Ice. Have you seen her? LP. Have you seen her? I'ma go over to Tux Bites. I know you've probably seen her. He has a lot of beautiful girls with him. Tux, it's DMB, baby. Look.
Beautiful.
I look for a while, but I can't seem to find a beautiful girl so I can make her mine. Time after time, I've been searching for a while, but every girl I meet never seems worthwhile. What can I do? I pray to God for an answer. I feel pains in my heart like cancer. And when I find her, I'm gonna romance her. Lace of her presents and gifts, call me Santa. Claus, I make a heartbeat pause. That's my girl, homeboy, not yours. The girl of my dreams, she's more than I ever thought. Show me ass and culture, I think I'm getting punked. She's what I really want, so I'm a go-getter. Since I'm a go-getter, you know I'm gon' get her. And I will give her the world, anything for my beautiful girl. Psych. Ooh, it's been a while that I've been trying to find a beautiful girl. Fine, brown eyes, I found me a beautiful girl. She's my model, she's so fine. I just wanna take it, beautiful girl. Sparkling night, killing time. I found a beautiful girl.
Girl, it's your love that I've been missing. I miss all your hugs, your touching and kissing. Make love on the floor, the couch in the kitchen. One love enough, we done enough.
Ola has taught us quite a lot if you've been here. Managing your expectation, emotional intelligence, how to control our emotions. Back in the day, if I'm doing this show, the way I will come for that freeze.
Man of prestige. Ha! Now this guy win. Now you win. Now you win today. Now you win. I agree. Man of prestige. Now man you be.
I'm sure some people will be jealous now the way I talk about Ola. But I have learned a lot from him. That's why I keep telling you to follow him. If you don't follow Man of Prestige, now you know.
Ladies and gentlemen, what's going on? Ladies and gentlemen of Prestige, how are they? Let me make sure my audio is good by myself before I continue. All right. What's going on? Hello. Hit that like button, share, and subscribe as you're coming in. Chie, what's going on? She says, I'm in love, I guess. I'm in love with the new intro. Yes. Just seeing it for the first time. Where have you been? Why are you seeing this for the first time? We've been playing this for about 50 years now. But anyway, welcome. If you're listening to me live, do me a favor. Hit that like, share, and subscribe as you're coming in. Let's warm up. Let's bring everyone else into the room. We have some interesting information to cover today as usual. Shout out to all the people that have been leaving comments on the community posts, on the videos that were released while we couldn't go live. And shout out to all the people that are still super chatting even through the videos. I appreciate you. I want to say thank you to our sponsors, channel sponsors, Richie, Life with Natu, Adesua, Film Girl, Open Floor by Tima, Show Mama, Gores Corner, D Love. Shout out to you. Thank you so much. I appreciate all your support. It goes a long way. She says sneaking in when the show already started or catching the replay. I know. It's all good. As long as you're here, I'm good, But yes, we have some interesting things to cover today, but before we get into that, let's some house rules, right? Shall we? This is Men of Prestige. My name is Ola. I'm coming to you live from my Empire Pro Studios. Over here, we basically cover relationships from a power, self, social, seduction, attraction, emotional intelligence standpoint. We basically focus on what you can control, not everything else, okay? And we try to avoid blame, guilt, shalaye, explaining, outside of course, creating content. We try to avoid anything that basically consumes your energy, with no rewards. No evidence, no rewards, right? So we avoid all those different poisons that you're looking at on the screen right here, okay? So yes, that's what we do here. If you haven't downloaded the book yet, you can download the book. And yeah, that's also the way to get to the coaching program. You can download the book for free at www.loveandprestige.com. We do have a brand new book coming out on December 30. We're going to be launching that live here in New Jersey. If you want to come out to New Jersey and hang out, that event is going to be wide open for you. So make it a date. December 30, last Saturday of the year. Okay. It's loveandprestige.com. We're actually going to be launching 5 books, but there's going to be a new release that day, which is the number 1 red flag, which I'm looking at right now. The cover almost looks like the original one, except there's no picture of us on there. And this one is for especially for people who are looking to learn game to attract life partner. All right, so that's the house rules. Wanted to do some house rules really quickly before we continue. What's going on, Toby and Tribe? Good to see you. Good to see you. Welcome. Sparkleberry says morning from Melbourne, Australia. Hello, hello, hello. Good to see you. I didn't know you can super chat when the show has already been recorded. Yes. There's always a little $ with a square under it right next to the video. You can always do that. Absolutely. All right. So, like I said earlier, shout out to everybody. Okay. Yes, every book I release that we release will always be on Audible. Okay, so as a matter of fact, in the next 2 or 3 weeks, we're gonna be recording the audiobook. A lot of work. It's a lot of work, but we have to do it definitely because I enjoy Audible myself, so we have to do that. So yes, it's gonna be on Audible as well. It's gonna be everywhere. All right, so let's see here. So today we're going to cover a couple of stories. We obviously have the main story, which is like an update on the guy in Orlando, Florida, who deleted his wife some weeks ago. Okay, there's another accompanying story of that from 2021, but I've never covered it before. It's kind of weird, and we're also going to cover that one as well, you know. So, but before we get into that, a couple of things I just wanted to cover for some updates, some trendy stuff in the past few weeks. All right, and then we'll go into the main story. Okay, I'll be right back. All right, so we've seen this post right here. Boom, right there. It says it's an Instagram post. I thought I'll share it with you guys. It says woman explains why traumatized people always reject love. Okay, this is a dynamic that a lot of people don't pay attention to. You know, everybody kind of pay attention to the discrete logic. Right, they pay attention to number 7, discrete logic. If it's yes, the other side must be no. If it's black, the other side must be white. Let's call a spade a spade. Let's just be real. Let's just tell the truth, right? Things like that. That's what most people focus on. Naturally so, it is what it is. But also naturally so, a lot of people are creating bad relationships. So maybe it's time that we start paying attention, right? That maybe what we've been doing has not really worked, right? Anti-seducers, the moralizer, number 3, the police, the person that's always looking for right, wrong, and that's how they see things in life, okay? So a lot of time they reject love. A lot of people, not most people, but a lot of people reject love. You know, actually, arguably, most people, right, reject love without realizing that that's what they're doing. Okay, so I thought I'd share this with you. Please, as you're coming in, hit that like, share, and subscribe. I appreciate you. Okay. All right, let's tell the truth. And what you tell us, right? Yeah, so that's what most people do, and you know, a lot of times when they create the result they created, that's one of the blind spots that they don't pay attention to. So let me play what she said, and then we'll talk about it.
Been traumatized wants nothing more than love, but because it's so unfamiliar to them, when they get it, they're suspicious of it, and they reject it, and they test it, and they punish the person who's trying to love them, unless they meet somebody who's bad for them. When they meet somebody who's bad for them and is also abusive and is also neglectful, this feels familiar. I know how to navigate this person. I'm going to love you with all my heart. But somebody who's consistent, caring, and loving, what's wrong with you? Why are you loving me? This can't be real. Let me test you. Let me swear at you. Let me shout at you. Let me pretend to break up with you. Let me test you. But you, the abusive, neglectful, narcissistic kind of partner, you're exactly what the doctor ordered. I know exactly what to do with you, so I'm going to love you endlessly. The person who's been traumatized wants nothing.
Let me just read that right there. Let's go back. Let's go here. All right, let's pop it back open. There you go. The person who is being traumatized wants nothing more than love, but because it's so unfamiliar to them, when they get it, they're suspicious of it, and they reject it, and they test it, and they punish that person to love them, unless the person that loves them, unless they meet a bad person. When they meet someone who's bad for them, and it's also abusive, and it's also neglectful, it feels okay. All right. It's a lot. Let me pop it open, and then I'll pause it as we go, and then the person who's being traumatized wants nothing more than love. Okay, so they want what they want. Just because you want what you want doesn't mean you're going to get what you want, right? That's what they're saying there. You want love, right? Nothing more than love. In fact, that's what you probably would say with your mouth, right? This is why I pay more attention to people's action more than their words. A lot of people just talk, right? And they mean what they say. Doesn't mean they don't mean. This is why when people want to go in the direction of, they intentionally want to lie to you. As I know, they're lying to you doesn't mean they want to lie to you. Not necessarily, okay? Most people, they're just trying to figure out this thing called life out, okay? So oftentimes what they're saying, the story they're telling themselves, what they'll tell you, and it's still a bunch of lies, right? So let's continue. But because it's so unfamiliar to them, when they get it, they're suspicious. You know, if you're not used to somebody giving you a bottle of water, what do? You say, why are you giving me water? Did you put something inside of it? Excuse me. Took an opportunity to drink some water there, right? Yeah. Why are you giving me water? Because they're not familiar with somebody doing anything nice for them, right? Now, people are not born that way. We're talking about trauma, right? So it's unfamiliar, right? They've been collecting for so long, they can't see it. They can't fathom. They don't understand it, right? And it's subconscious. It's not they choose not to understand it, okay? See, you gotta apply empathy and understanding when we're assessing these things, right? It's not that they decide that they just want to attract toxic. You just happen to attract toxic. Okay, let's continue. And they reject it and they test it. That part, they test it. What do most people do? What's the name of our new book? The number one red flag. What do most people do? They just go out there and they want to test. Somebody asked the other day, they said, hey, how can I test if a person is real? I was like, you've probably already been testing. You're looking for a better way to test. Well, testing consumes all your energy. There's no energy left to attract what is good for you. There's no energy left to even identify what is good for you when it's in front of you. A lot of men these days, if you put a feminine, submissive woman in front of them, they can't recognize it because they're actively looking. They're saying, let me see if she's masculine. Let me make sure she's not masculine. The same thing with a lot of ladies these days. Let me look out for the red flags. You know, I don't want to end up in the same situation again. Naturally, this is the natural direction of things when you don't know any better, right? When you don't know any better, and keep in mind, it's happening mostly subconsciously, right? Let me continue real quick. And they punish the person who is loving to them, okay, whatever that was. They end up punishing the person who is actually being good to them. People do that so many times. People do that all the time. Again, they're not doing it intentionally. If you are in a situation, a life situation with this kind of person, the worst thing you can do is go there and say, "You are doing this to me." You're making it worse because they don't know what you're talking about, right? Yes, effectively they're doing it because you're on the receiving end of it, right? So what's the solution? Let's keep going first. Unless they meet somebody who is bad for them. When they meet somebody who is bad for them and is also abusive and is also neglectful, this feels familiar. Then they tell themselves, "I can navigate this." Right? How do they navigate this? Well, think about the person that tends to see narcissists in everybody, right? That's all they see. Any controlling behavior or emotional blackmail, they can't wait to say, "You know what? That's narcissism right there," right? Right? What are they doing in that moment in time? "I recognize this." They don't say, "I can treat it." In fact, a lot of times they say, "I will never get in a relationship with that person." Yes, they do say that with their mouth. Okay? Yes, they do say that. However, what about all that energy that you're spending to identify narcissistic behavior? Now, we see it. I'm looking for it. Those are two different things, right? There's a lot of people that are actively looking for it, right? That takes a lot of energy, right? So, and then they tend to attract more of it, even if the person they're interacting with is not necessarily that. Obviously, we will never know because you're not going to diagnose them. But a lot of people are selfish in a lot of ways. Most of us have selfish moments. If you happen to catch someone in their selfish moment, I was just talking to my wife earlier about, we've all had second, third, fourth chances, right? We've all had it, right? And we've not always been like sometimes the first impression that we present is just bad. Like, even you, as much as you try, even you as the nicest person ever, sometimes somebody just caught you in the wrong mood or something like that, and now you've just sowed the wrong first impression. And a lot of time you come back around and most of the time there's going to be second, third, fourth chances, many chances. Every once in a while, that's the only chance you need for that person to write you off. Well, in the dating scene today, many people they're ghosting people left and right. They ghost to left and right. And again, I understand it, but what is that becoming? Is it time to start paying a little bit extra attention? Am I saying that you should entertain BS? No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying be aware. There's a good chance you might be in the same boat. All right. So I recognize that I can navigate it. How do you navigate it? You're not necessarily jumping into relationships with these people, but you are spending all your energy in engaging them, identifying them. If I create a platform where we're doing basketballs right now, you will see more people come inside. Okay, where we just fight each other. Right? Do you not notice that on the social media? Right? That's just what they do. You engage your energy with what is bad for you. Right? It's entertaining. We're really doing well, but at what point do you draw the line and say, I might be spending too much of my energy on negative, toxic stuff that's not serving me? Short, mid, and long term. Let's continue. And now get this person. I'm going to love you with all my heart. So all you have to do is love a narcissist with all your heart. Right? What does that look like on the surface? Well, no, I will never love them with all my heart. I avoid them. Are you sure? Pay attention to your actions, not necessarily what you say. That's all I'm saying. Let's see. But somebody who is consistent, caring, and loving, what's wrong? They'll be asking with you. What's wrong with you? Why are you loving me? Right? Let me test you. Let me test it. Let me make sure, right? As opposed to what you have in front of you. This moment, if it's healthy, build on top of it, right? If it gets to a point it's toxic, you handle it at that point. You handle that problem when you get there. What most people are doing is they're trying to create what they hate the most about romantic relationship before it get there, just to make sure that I don't have to deal with it in the future. Let me create it right now, right? Let's deal with that right now. Let's deal with it right now, right? So they end up creating or attracting what they fear the most, as opposed to this person in front of me is being nice. Right? Let me engage them a little bit more, right? Let me engage them. It doesn't have to turn out to be a marriage. It could just be a friend that can lead me to another person. I might be sowing seeds of first impression in this moment. What do people do these days? They basically cast. They basically project their past experiences everywhere they go. They can't wait to help other people. They really mean well. They have good intentions. They want to help other people not to fall into their same place, into their same mistakes. But energy, no be your mate. You are recreating it all over and over again. Let me test you. Neglectful, narcissistic kind of partner, you're exactly what the doctor prescribed. I know exactly what to do. I'm going to love you forever. Anyway, let me come back to the chat really quickly. Yes, Toby and try to say it all comes down to worthiness. You will never fully be comfortable receiving something you feel you don't deserve. Yes. If you don't feel worthy for it, you question it. That's true. Chinye says really sad. Yes, it's very, very sad because this is time and life. It's literally passing by in front of us. Tick tock, right? And there's no getting it back, right? The cost of these behaviors, subtle or not, subconscious or not, unconscious or not, the cost is grave. Okay? The consequences, grave consequences. You never get time and life back. Okay? So the only thing you can do is just be better as we move into the future, right? That word narcissist became so popular between 2021 and 23. Yeah, it's everywhere. It's everywhere. We're all diagnostics. How do you say it? We're all narcissism practitioners now. We can detect them from afar, right? All of us. And it's problematic. That's not even funny. Okay. What's going on? Not too far. Good to see you. All right. So let's move on to the next story. I will be right back. All right, so a quick shout out to all 18 of you watching me live, all 17 of you watching me live, all 16 of you watching me live, all I'm just kidding. Shout out to everyone watching. You'll watch 17 people watching me live, and all 100 of you plus that will watch me later, watch this show later. Shout out to all of you. I appreciate you and your support. We're talking a little bit about Keke Palmer and Darius Jackson. This was on shout out to the Hollywood Unlocked. And they said Keke Palmer and Darius Jackson turned up at Beyonce's Renaissance show last night. Now, if you remember, Keke Palmer was at Usher's show, showing her butt cheeks in dancing, with Usher some few weeks back. And this young man was dragged woto. He was collecting left and right everywhere. Now, because he went on the internet to air his grievances about his baby mother. You're a mother though, but you're supposed to be a mother though, right? Yeah. He was basically crying to Twitter, and Twitter dragged him woto, and then he ended up ending his account temporarily, I guess, And then some few weeks later, I think they came out and they said, oh, they've broken up. He's decided he wants to move on. And then he came out and he said that's fake news, So this is the good now. Now this is good news. Okay, I like when I see this because let me tell you something. The grass always seems greener on the other side. Okay, the grass always seems greener on the other side. Okay, doesn't mean it's not greener. It could be. But if it's greener, it's a good chance somebody else is watering it, or maybe it's synthetic, it's fake. It's fake, meaning there's no life in it. So, and sometimes you do have to move on from the situation where you find yourself, right? And a lot of times the grass just seems greener on the other side, right? So I like it when people can pick up the pieces and mend their relationship, because guess what? They have a child together. They don't really have a choice anyway. Okay, they will have to have some kind of relationship over time. Okay, this is the part that a lot of people that get caught up in their emotions that they don't get. This is a relationship that you're going to have to find a way to manage anyway for the rest of the life of those children, right? You have to be in a place later on to be able to stand them. It's like going to war, right? In the beginning, you might have to negotiate. If you don't want to negotiate, you want to have coconut head. At the end of it, you have to negotiate. Still, the only difference is casualties. Reality, okay? Does that mean you always stay in the situation? No. I'm just saying be aware of that, okay? Just because you're running doesn't mean you get to run. There's no escape, okay? Most of the time, there's no escape. So the one thing you can do about life and love and relationships is learn how to nurture your relationships. Learn how to nurture your relationships. If you don't nurture your relationships, somebody else will help you nurture it. Maybe rightfully so. I'm not saying it's not necessarily. I just want you to be aware that you need to nurture your own relationships. That's how you build on top of it. You nurture it and then it grows. And then other people will say, relationship goals. Yeah, they will say your grass is greener. They don't realize that you've been watering it. So I like to see this. It doesn't mean it's a guarantee of anything to the future, but I like to see it. But this was the news. They went to Beyonce's concert together, right? Now, if this was some other type of people, okay, they might want to get their own lick back. Meaning, no, I'm just going to go to Beyonce by myself too and dance on the stage. Well, gentlemen, unfortunately, you don't have that luxury. Okay, you're just going to look like a madman out there. That's all. And then Beyonce is not going to turn her booty cheeks to you to dance. It's not going to happen. Okay, so this is the best way you can get his lick back, which is, they have some kind of relationship. They're re-nurturing their relationship. So here we go.
Look around and see
You have to love it. I love that. I like that they are real, as in they've gone through the poto. The situation ended up in the poto for a second, right? It is what it is, But I also like that they are coming out of it and they're trying to make the best out of it. Is that a guarantee of the rest of their life? No, there's no guarantee in life. The only thing that's guaranteed is this moment. Me and you, we are hanging out right now. This is this moment, right? The more you can nurture this moment and build on top of these relationships, the higher the chances that the next moment will follow the same pattern. You get it? You get it or you don't get it? You get it?
You get it? If you don't get it, forget about it. All right.
If you don't get it, forget about it, man. Honestly, this moment when you're with your partner, when you're with your loved ones, your child, being able to take advantage of this moment is everything. If you make a mess out of it or you start fantasizing about it's better somewhere else, right? There's a higher chance. It's not guaranteed. There's a higher chance that will repeat itself until you end up in the poto together, right? Or maybe alone, right? Most likely together, because once they engage in a relationship with you, they deserve all type of poto that comes to them too. It's just what it is. It's the reality. You see what I'm saying? So it's not a situation where you say, well, they were mean to me, they deserve. Well, if you say they deserve, you're saying the partner deserves it. You're saying the children deserves it. That's what you're saying. That's how a lot of people are perpetuating toxic results all over the place, and they don't realize it. Okay? So it's good to see them in this light at that show. I wanted to highlight that to let you know that just because you find yourself in the funk in your relationship does not make you any worse than the next person. We've all been there. We've all been there. The only difference you're trying to create is you don't want to lose the loved ones in your life. You don't want to lose a relationship that can actually blossom into a beautiful thing later. Because honestly, if you can figure it out, I'm not talking about toxic situation that's just bad, that your life is on the line. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the typical that everyone will go through. You'll find yourself in a situation where You question everything. You question compatibility. You question if this person is for you. You question if this was all a mistake. You question if she's in fact a feminine woman like she claimed in the beginning. You question everything because you find yourself in the funk like the rest of us. And then you're thinking that maybe it's better on the other side.
You doing what?
Maybe not. Okay? Maybe not. So I wanted to highlight this to let you know that, hey, listen, how they say it, right? It's if you can zone in and say, hey, it's not necessarily better anywhere else. Let me sometimes you have to back off a little bit, right? To have a clear view of what's going on, right? Then once you can get into a space that is good, nurture it, build on top of it, have a conversation. Talk more about the things you like. Talk less about the things you don't like, right? Because what you focus on expands. This is real. This is not just science or some spiritual science or no, it's the reality of life, okay? This is not just Christianity and spirituality. No, it's the reality of life. What you focus on expands in twisted ways. Oftentimes, it might take you time before you see that, oh my God, it just expanded. That's why people say, nonsense, Jare. So if I focus on 1 million, it turn to 1 million. You see, that's what we're talking. You are playing with your future.
You use your future to play.
Pay attention to what I'm saying, okay? All right. Majority of what I'm telling you is easier said than done because when you're caught up in your emotions, you're caught up. I'm just saying, if you're caught up in your emotions like the rest of us, calm down. Just calm down a little bit. Maybe just need a little bit of time. Take some water. Take a shower. Come back to it in the morning. Yeah. No, but we must talk about it tonight. No long-term relationship go to bed. You're lying. That's a lie. Okay. It's okay to go to bed and come back to the issue in the morning. Stop lying to yourself.
Abba, you lie. Why the fuck?
Don't lie to yourself. It's okay to go to bed. Heavens are not going to fall out of the skies tonight. I promise you. Okay. And then you might just come back later, a few weeks later, and then you're bumping to Beyonce together with your partner. And everybody go day all right. All those online in-laws, they go day, I promise they will day all right. They moved on to the next story. See me, I'm just happy to be one of the few people that came back to this story. Majority of people, they moved on. They are more attracted to the toxic part of the story. All right. I just wanted to highlight that really quickly. Let me see. She said we get it. The internet, he collected. Yeah, he collected. It's okay. Sometimes you need to collect to build, to grow. That's part of growing pain. All right. I'll be right back. All right. Let me see what's going on here. Divorce is not an option. I saw this post on Instagram. As I see them, I save them. That's honestly how we're doing this. See them, I save them. I say, you know what? I want to share this with the Prestige family. I want to share my thoughts, my insights about this stuff. The title of this is "Divorce is Not an Option" by the Masons. I'm not seeing too much benefits in that. I can see benefit. I guess, hey, let's not even think about that, because remember what I just said in that last segment, what you focus on expands, right? But honestly, outside of that, I don't see, the reality is that divorce is an option and people are exercising that option more so than ever before. And a lot of people that will say that are basically, they're saying that out of the fear that they might attract what they focus on. True, okay? If you threaten your partner with divorce all the time, you will eventually end up there. That's just the reality, right? But on the flip side of things, I wanted to hear their context. And then, first of all, like the main story we're covering today, Japa marriage, she locked me out, stole my children. And the end of that story is that he called 911 because somebody had been deleted, right? Because we're seeing a lot of those stories, we can't normalize the idea that divorce is not an option. Okay, we need to normalize that it is in fact an option. However, it's okay to say however. We are afraid of saying things like but, because we say it's not real if you say but. We're afraid of saying it depends, because we say you're straddling the fence because you're saying it depends. We're afraid of saying however. There's some words we're afraid of saying, the words that demonstrate that there are nuances in life, right? There's black, there's white, and everything in between in life, right? We're afraid of this type of reality, and it's just a reality, right? So divorce is an option. That's the reality. Now, for them, they're saying it's not an option, but I want to talk about what they did in the background for them to be in such a beautiful place. I think it's a beautiful place to be for two partners, right? Husband and wife, especially, to say divorce is an option. For them to agree to that and mean that, I think that's a beautiful thing, right? But I think we should pay more attention to everything they're doing in the background to be in that position, right? Because if you're not doing everything that they're doing in the background to be in that position, and you're telling yourself divorce is an option, you're going to end up resenting yourself, right? Potentially, God forbid, you end up like Mr. Hassan Adeyemo's wife, or vice versa, because the opposite does happen too, right? So I want us to add some nuance. Let me play the video and then we'll come back to it. All right, let's see.
38 years. I grew up with that example, and divorce was never an option for my parents. My dad was in the music industry. My dad is still in the real estate space, and through those things and all of the challenges that come with being in music, my parents are still together to this day and love each other to death. And to see that, it is an example that will it lets me know, and then also it's what I display to our children in terms of what a relationship and what love looks like, so that they know when they get here that it's not an option. If you put a gun on a table and two people are having an argument, somebody just pick it up. But if that weapon is never there, as an option, which is divorce, you work through it.
You do.
And that's really the thing. So I just think that it's the examples
I
that
said it in one of our shows that my dad, he's from the South, very old school, and he says, if a man is not cheating on you or beating on you, then there's nothing you can't work through.
Her parents have been married for 38 years. I grew up with that example.
All right, so let's talk about that really quickly. Again, if you noticed, he just referenced people that were married from 38 years ago. There are two things that I can think about in that situation, right? First of all, their values. Their values were different. The values have changed. They've evolved. Or devolved, whatever you want to call it, right? But the reality is that it's changed. It's moving into a different place. Okay? So it's different, right? So if you can set up unrealistic expectations for yourself by using a 60 years old benchmark, even 20 years old benchmark, right? You can set yourself up for unrealistic expectations. Okay, so effectively, what those people had to do to maintain that relationship at that time, it's not necessarily better or good or better or worse. It's just different. They have to do completely different things to maintain a healthy, thriving marriage, long-term relationship. They have to do something different. I get the analogy. If you put a gun on the table, people can grab it when there's argument. Yeah, except that, that's a terrible analogy, right? This is more of an option to exercise, and some people need it. They need to exercise that option. The other option he just used to do the analogy is a matter of life and death, right? You can't reverse it. People can go to divorce and come back and remarry. It happens all the time. I know you won't get that news because it's not sensational, okay? It's not going to make it to the shade room. I get that. But it happens all the time, okay? It happens all the time. Because the truth is that if you have something good that you can come back together and rebuild on top of it, people will do what they need to do. If it feels good to do that, if it feels safe enough for them to do that, they will do exactly that. People will do that, and they will tell everybody to go back home and sleep. Okay, so you can reverse that. But the analogy of the gun, it's not a fit. It's not a fit. That doesn't mean you should put divorce on the table as an option. But some people will also say, you know what? We say, hey, what would you say if you ever have to divorce? Well, I hope we never have to divorce, but this one thing will make us have to go and divorce because it's not healthy. Then we have that conversation, right? Because divorce is not a do or die thing, like just like marriage. It's not the end of the world because divorce happened. But the gun analogy is the end of the world. Now, I do understand that divorce can feel like the end of the world. That is the thing we need to back off from. We need to back off from the idea that divorce is the end of the world. It is not. It is not the end of the world. Okay? People can come back from it. Some people need to go right into it and keep moving. That's just the reality of life, right? So this comparing to 60 years ago, it's not a fit because the values are different. The options are different. People do have options now, and many of them have good reasons to exercise those options when the options do become the reality, right? So again, divorce is not an option. I want to know. I would love to have a conversation with this couple to understand what they're doing in the background. That because divorce is not an option as an ideology, it's a symptom at this point. That is where we are, and it's a beautiful place to be with your wife or your husband when you feel feelings like divorce is not an option, right? But to set that as a rule for everyone, that's not gonna fly. It's just a different zone that we're in. That's not encouraging divorce. That's encouraging self-love, self-respect, self-worth, right? Because there's no good marriage without those things. You got, especially gentlemen, I have to preach to you that you need self-love. You need to respect yourself. If somebody doesn't want to be in your world, adios, right? You're sad, naturally so, because that's your family, right? But please be a little bit quicker to say, I understand. Because it's not a surprise. Let's be honest. It's not a surprise. You could see this coming oftentimes, even though you're kind of surprised, but not really. You could see that there's been problems. Maybe you didn't think it would get there, but you could see this. It's been bad, right? Adios. Not adios, right? You don't need to have attitude when you actually care, but you should. I understand, right? Let me know if you change your mind. Then we can reassess things. Doesn't mean you have to get back together. You can reassess things from that point, right? But let me play it and chop it up a little bit because he said a lot there, But the one thing that stand out is that analogy, the gun analogy. She has said Benny Hinn divorced and remarried his wife. Yeah, that happens all the time. They just don't make noise about it because it's probably the noise that they made that separated them in the first place, that helped them separate quicker. So they're probably learning and try to maintain things. Many of them, they don't get remarried. They just keep smashing. Like, let's not be deceiving ourselves, right? So, but of course, the one that makes the news are the toxic ones that are dragging themselves on the internet, right? Yeah. Let me see here. Let me go back here. There you go. I'm going to play it again. Then we'll take it from there. Let's see.
And divorce was never an option for my parents. My dad was in the music
industry. I guess it's a podcast called Building with the Masons. I'm sure they have something of value to share. But let me see here. It looks like they had their first 1,000 followers. Okay, they're just getting started. Okay, cool. So they're excited about sharing with other people, which is cool. I like to see more examples like this. Let's go back again.
My dad is still in the real estate space, and
now let me do that again. Let's do this again.
Her parents have been married for 38 years. I grew up with that example.
Her parents have been married for 38 years, right? 38 years, no be beans. 38 years, there has been moments that we don't even want to mention right now that they thought it was over. Yeah, they So divorce has never been an option. To me, that would be false. It's impossible. It's impossible. Okay. Now, from what you've seen, since you've been grown enough to see, it might look like that, but that's what it's supposed to look like, better over time, right? but that is never been a position where they like, you know what, I don't know. It's impossible. When you have collaborative efforts between two human beings, there will be friction that will almost take them out. It's just the way it works.
And divorce was never an option for my parents.
Or
My
mine.
dad was in
Divorce was never for his parents.
the music industry. My dad is still in the real estate space. And through those things and all of the challenges that come with being in music, my parents are still together to this day and love
Oh, so there were challenges. We need to know what those challenges are.
each other to death. And to see that it is an example that will let me, it lets me know, and then also it's what I display to our children in terms of what a relationship and what love looks like, so that they know when they get here that it's not an option. If you put a gun on a table and two people are having an argument, somebody just pick it up. But if that weapon is never
that's
there,
weird. That's wild.
as an option, which is divorce, you work through it.
You do.
And that's really the thing. So
Irreconcilable differences is a real thing. It's a real thing. There are two human beings involved. Don't forget that. Okay, that is a real thing. Yeah, but again, I don't know if they're couples. Let me see their page. Actually, I'm not sure if they're couples. If they're a couple, I would like to know what they're doing to feel that way about their relationship today. There are underlying things going on that's healthy enough for them to feel that way. That's what they need to be talking more about. Not if divorce should be an option. If you do this, both of you will feel like divorce is never an option. I want to have that conversation rather than just make divorce not an option. Like, I don't want to encourage divorce. That's not what I'm doing. What I'm saying is that it's not enough. But this is also a very small clip that is possible. I'm taking out of context.
I just think that it's the examples that
I said it in one of our shows that my dad, he's from the South, very old school, and he says, if a man is not cheating on you or beating on you, then there's nothing you can't work through.
If it's not cheating or being, that's just black and white type of advice. And that would probably fit into 20, 30 years ago. There's so much, many other reasons why a marriage might not just be a fit. So many more, right? Because again, we're talking about emotions. It's multifaceted. It's multiple layers to it. It's a lot of times it's not even your fault. It's something they're bringing to the table from previous situations. We're in a different place altogether. So I'm looking at this. Divorce is not an option. And apparently this went viral because somebody helped them reposted this. Let me look at this. So there's nothing you can't walk through when you both are working together. See how simple that sounds? So until you think you're working together and at least one person feels like you're not working with me, you're like, no, I'm working with you. Like, no, you're not working with me. You're stuck in your own ways. And then that one little thing is a disagreement, right? Yeah, like what does that look like in real life? A lot of marriages don't work because it's one person doing all of the emotional labor, or it's one person that feels like they're doing all of the emotional labor, right? Like in reality, it could be both of them trying, but they don't have the skills, they don't have the tools. And one person who is the loudest person feels like they're the one doing most of the work. And everything in between, or the other side of it, whichever one is the actual truth, we don't know. It's much more complex than what is. It's what people feel. And feelings are far from reality most times, right? But you're gonna have to deal with the feelings because that becomes the reality. Perception becomes the reality. It's going to be a lot more than the talking points that's needed, okay? And they feel they've exhausted all options. But I agree that if both are trying, it's nothing that can be worked. Here's the reality. When both are trying, they're not trying, they're just in love. That's the reality, right? Everything else is easier said than done. Let me read one more comment from this. That part when she said, if a man is not cheating on you or abusing you, there's nothing you can't walk through. What about if you don't feel like a man is cheating on you or abusing you? Because if you feel something as an abuse, even if it's not necessarily, pragmatically speaking, an abuse, right? It still can destroy that marriage, right? No, but that's just your feelings. And now she feels unheard. And then you're dealing with unseen, right? You fight not the flesh. There's so much more to it. But also sometimes relationships have run their course. Of course, we have modern people here. And some people get married and they're not on the same page. Listen, Listen, sometimes that's all you have to conclude with. That's it. Okay. My father gave me this advice as well, but cheating and beating is the worst of a marriage. What if he's trying? When divorce isn't an option, some people take advantage of that and do nothing. Okay? It's not an option, so they do nothing. There's no consequences. There's no pain to gravitate away from, so they don't change their behavior. Right? There's nothing to lose. People that have nothing to lose, they don't change. Okay? They don't care. All right? Because where is the other person going to? If both people are trying to work it out, great. Stay and work. Of course. If both people, the reality is both people feel that way. Right? But if I didn't stay after I was the only one working on us for years, and my father was proud of me for doing what was best for my happiness, don't let people take advantage of you because divorce is not an option. Listen, I think I should leave it right there. Okay? All right, with that being said, we're getting on the top of the hour. I think it's about time we get into the real story of the day, and I'll be right back. All right, so we have the story of this guy who is now locked up. According to reports, is locked up in custody, no bail. Okay, for deleting his wife, Hassan Adeyemo. Okay, and interestingly enough, he has a LinkedIn page out there claiming that he was a clinical data manager, CDM. You guys know what CDM is, right? He has a LinkedIn page out there. I saw it claiming that he's a CDM. Let me see if I can find it actually. Hassan Adeyemo Teddy. Okay. Now this news is everywhere, so we're just basically reporting. But there's something else that came up on Naira. I saw one of my buddies posted it. I'll just show you how I found it in a second here. Listen, I'm actually seeing he actually has a TikTok page. Okay, he has a TikTok page. I wonder what is on the TikTok. What is going on? Let me see. There is a TikTok page here. These are children. I'm not sure if these are the children. Let's see. It's probably him. It's probably his children. Let's see here. Let's see this.
Where do you live? With my parents. Where do your parents live? With me. Where do you all live?
Oh my God. What is this? Let me see this one.
You say you love me.
Okay. That's his name. It's probably he probably using a TikTok account on his name. But anyway, that's that right there. Let me see. There's I'm trying to see. So because one of the news that they broke is that he's driving Uber. It's possible he could be an IT person and be driving Uber in between gigs. That's very possible as well. Let me see. Looks like they might have taken the. Okay, no, I found it. All right, so this is a page somewhere online. This page right here says clinical data manager. Let me see. Somebody's talking in the chat. Let me see. Sparkleberry said you saw it too. Okay, you saw that too. Yeah. Clinical data manager, Medtronic contract. So contract work. Contract work, yeah, it's possible. He's driving. He also was an epic support specialist person, consultant, healthcare consultant person. Well, yeah, those gigs don't often come frequent for most people. So he might have had to drive Uber in between. Might have a lot of moments when he's broke. Yeah, it is what it is. All right. So, but this is the wife. Let's talk about it. So I saw this post on Instagram from one of my buddies online, Humble Prince, the guy that I played this interview the other time with Stella Damasos. Right. Let me see if I can find it real quickly. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? There you go. This post. So I saw this post of them feeding each other, and then she looks like there's a gap in her tooth at this point, and it looks like she might have fixed her teeth before she passed. But that's them. That's another picture of them that we're seeing for the first time. So the news, this was the original news. I'm just going to read it real quick so I can bring you up to speed. This is all we knew up to recently. Well, until the news that Natu also had somebody told her on the last episode we did, right? Somebody who was apparently close to their circle. But this was the news. A Nigerian man identified as Hassan Teddy Adeyemo has been arrested on a first degree charge, bike charge, deletion charge, after he allegedly, deleted his wife in East Orange County, Florida. The sheriff's office said. The county police in a statement said the police said deputies responded to Taxiway Circle, which is in a residential area near the Conway neighborhood, at about 7:20 p.m. Saturday, August 27, 2023. That's a few days ago. Yep. All right, good. All right, I'll get to that in a second. Thank you, Anatu. Got it. They arrived to find 43-year-old Nashin Hassan Adeyemo, that's her name, Nashin, who had been, deleted. She was taken to an area hospital where she passed. Detectives identified Adeyemo's husband, 46 years old Hassan Teddy Adeyemo, as a suspect in the deletion. He was jailed on the first degree, deletion charge. The sheriff's office didn't release any additional details on the deletion beyond saying it was domestic in nature. Ouch. Hassan Adeyemo is being held without bail at the Orange County. All right, so I'm going to get to the rest of this story later. There's another story down there. I'm going to get to it. But we saw this on Naira Land, right? But let me go back to... Okay, so back to here. My friend Humble Prince. I should find a way to drag Humble Prince here sometimes, if you will. He said, "Why I deleted my wife by Hassan Adeyemo. This is sad. Still doesn't justify deleting her. I wish he had found other ways to heal rather than resort to, the DV, right? Hurt people. May her soul rest in peace, and may God console the hearts of those she left behind." All right, so and I saw this link and I'm like, wait to be this kind of link. And my friend here, you guys remember Sheon? Sheon is due back here anytime soon too. Sheon posted package story. Humble Prince packaged. Hopefully his children will serve as witness and get the much needed justice for their mother, right? All right, so I'm going to come back to this comment because I'm seeing somebody calling people mad already here. But let me read this. This is the post on Narrowland that's been floating around for 24 hours now. The story has lots of cap in it already. The cap, whenever I call cap here, let me just tell you, it's not me saying that people are necessarily lying. Okay? I'm saying there are loopholes. There are holes in the story. I'm saying I'm reading the tone of the story, okay? I am, yes, speculating to an extent as well, right? But I'm also letting you know that if this is how you tell stories, that you're telling on yourself because it reflects your mindset. It reflects the mindset of the storyteller. And I'm talking more so about the mindset, not judgment, We can't judge here. We're not capable of judging people here. Okay, we can only talk about the things in the public domain, right? Because a lot of people take that personally. It's like, well, we need to hear the other side of the story. No, not necessarily. If you hear the other side of the story, it will give us additional context, not necessarily the absolute truth. Okay? But in terms of the lessons we can extract, we can start by reading what we have in front of us and learning from the mindset of the person that's telling the story. And that's what we do here for the most part, just so you know. Okay? In 1998, a 21-year-old Nigerian soldier named Hassan Adeyemo from Ibadan met and fell in love with an 18-year-old beautiful Hausa girl from Bauchi called Sarah. It was love at first sight. They got married in 1999 and got blessed. Okay, hold on 1 second. Let me not blind you. Let me put the right thing on the screen so you can just listen to me. Hold on 1 second. There you go. Okay, it's better this way. Okay, all right, so you can listen to me. Okay, they got married in 1999 and God blessed them with a beautiful daughter in 2000. That's 23 years ago. After her, they had 2 other daughters and 1 boy. 2 daughters, 3 and 1 boy. Okay. Making 4 kids. Hassan loved his wife so much and told her not to work because of stress. He was providing everything she ever wanted for her and the kids. In 2014, Hassan wanted a better life for his family. So, with his wife's agreement, he decided to send them to the US. Sarah and the kids entered the United States in 2014. Before they got there, Hassan already arranged a rented house and a car for them. Sarah wasn't working. Hassan was sending big money to them for upkeep from Nigeria every month. Despite the distance, Hassan bonded with his wife and kids. Everyone was happy. Hold on 1 second. All right. In 2017, Hassan, he had missed his family so much, decided to relocate to America and stay with them. Before Hassan got to America, Sarah had started their air braiding. Hold on a second. Sorry about that. She had started her hair braiding just to keep herself busy when the kids were in school. Everyone loved her and the way she braided beautiful styles. Gradually, she became a household name in Orlando, Florida. Ladies flooded her to do their hair. Okay? The unfortunate victims of the tragedy. What she was doing for fun became something big overnight. Hassan entered the US and things were going smoothly. Hassan, who was a big man in Nigeria. So they're painting a picture here. I want you to pay attention to the picture they're painting. Right? They're painting one person one way, they're painting the other person another way. And I would like to see what you guys think as I'm reading through in the comments, okay? Right? He was a big man in Nigeria, okay? They already painted the picture. He takes care of his family. That's what we're getting right now, which is very possible, right? Left everything and came to America to start all over with menial jobs. Okay, he had no papers yet, so he was doing jobs that paid him peanuts. God blessed them with a baby boy in 2018, making their children a total of 5. Sarah was making at least $1,000 a day. I'm guessing that's $1,000 a day, with the help of her daughters who she had trained. She was very fast and efficient in braiding. With this income, she was able to support the family with all expenses because Hassan's income couldn't meet up with the expenses and bills. Hassan got his papers and started Uber and delivery jobs. He worked from day to night and started contributing his quota to the family. But his contribution was like change to his wife, Sarah, was making. In effect, Sarah became the breadwinner of the house. Issues started because Sarah was always complaining that Hassan couldn't afford her lifestyle. She became the children's favorite because she gave them everything they asked for. While their dad could not meet up, Sarah entered the house whenever she wished. She became the boss, always calling Hassan lazy and useless, while Hassan always appealed to her for peace to reign. Hassan, a gentleman, didn't like trouble in any form. A gentleman. A gentleman. Let me tell you something before I continue, right? If you they do shalaye with no evidence, you go shalaye, you explain, because no evidence. No evidence. But let's continue. All right, so issue started because Sarah was always complaining that Hassan couldn't afford her lifestyle, right? So that statement already right there told me cap, because she obviously could afford her own lifestyle off of the same story that the writer painted, right? So maybe she's complaining for other reasons, but it doesn't sound like because he couldn't afford her lifestyle. Sounds like there's more to that side of things. Again, this statement issue started because Sarah was always complaining that Hassan couldn't afford her lifestyle. What else is she complaining about? I would like to know. I'm not saying that one is a lie, but what else could she be complaining? Nothing. She's just a gold digger. Really? Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's continue. She became the children's favorite because she gave them everything they needed. I'm reading back now. Sarah entered the house whenever she wished. She became the boss, always calling Hassan lazy and useless. While Hassan, a gentleman, didn't like trouble in any form. Sarah and the children formed their own group in the house. They gang up against the man of the house. Can you imagine? And abandoned their dad to always sort himself out. Sarah stopped cooking for him. That's where this came from. She stopped cooking for him. This thumbnail, that's where that thumbnail, she stopped cooking, that's where that came from. Hassan became depressed and was always begging friends and family members to help talk to his wife. Well, that would do it. That will destroy your family too. Okay? If you're begging family and friends to beg your wife, that would destroy your family. On paper, I know how that might make sense to you. Like, I've tried everything, right? I get it. But we'll talk about that. Hassan was always crying like a baby, saying Sarah made him feel less of a man in the house. Emasculate? Emasculate? What's the word? Oh Lord, the popular word. Jesus Christ. Anyway, let's continue. His friends encouraged him to persevere and ignore whatever she did. In January 2022, Sarah announced to Hassan that she had bought a house. They moved into the new house and she continued to treat him very badly. She disrespected him so much. Quote, "Leave my house if you cannot obey me, you irresponsible man." End of quote. She would often say she locked him out in the cold so many times and threw his things out. Are these things possible? Yes. But we're calling cap. Okay? We're calling cap. Just what we believe, what we don't believe. That's all. We're not judging. Just what we believe, what we don't believe. Especially that we know how these things play out in real life. Okay? All right? We're calling cap not because that statement could not be true. She locked him out in the cold so many times and threw his things out. That's very possible. But with the sequence that the story is coming with, is highly unlikely that's what happened. It's very much likely that there's more to the story. Okay, that's all I'm saying. The children were on their mother's side because she was the provider. Okay. The manipulation using the children name also is heavy. I don't know if you know this. The children took his side. They left him alone. All that is also heavy. Just pay attention to that, okay? The children, just so you know, yes, they're watching what you do by example, but oftentimes they get to make up their own mind too, based off of your conduct in your worst moment. Okay, in your conduct in your worst moment, not your good moments, because there's a good chance you're thinking about your good moments. After all, you've been there all the which is how they started, right? Your conduct in your worst moment is what will hunt you down. I know it sounds unfair. What about all those good times? I know, but this is the reality for every one of us. So to get to, everybody has, especially gentlemen, you have to deal with this, and you have to be okay with it because it's just a reality. The children were on their mother's side because she was the provider. Hassan became very depressed and started having, self-deletion thoughts. He told his friends how life is unfair. What did I just say? Unfair, right? And that he would delete himself. Okay? They advised him to leave the marriage because it was obvious that his wife was no longer in love with him. But he kept on asking, where will I start from? I love my wife, a woman I have invested all my life in, the only woman I have ever loved. What did I do to deserve this from her? Okay. April 2023, Sarah told him, this is just like yesterday, like a few months ago. April is 5 months ago. Okay. April 2023, Sarah told him she had bought another house, that this particular house is specifically for her and her customers. Okay, she's bought a new house, and this house is for her and her customers only. She told Hassan to hold on to the boys while the girls followed her to the new house. Hassan was like, why do you want to separate the family? She said, if everyone followed her to the new house, it would disturb my customers. She then told the husband that he could bring the boys over for weekends, but he can't come with them because I need my privacy. People tried to talk to Sarah, but she wouldn't listen. Hassan agreed, hoping that his wife would change her mind. Okay? Now, let me pause for a second. Is it possible that pride can get in the woman's head and this will happen? To a large extent, the story is true. Yes, please. Let's make that a yes, because it's the reality of a lot of people as well. Okay? The only thing I'm digging through right now is the person that talks will tell on themselves. The person that's doing the most talking will tell on themselves. And that's what I'm paying attention to here. Okay? Hold on, sorry about that. There you go. People tried to talk to her, but she wouldn't listen. Hassan agreed, hoping that his wife would change her mind. On August 21, 2023, it's like a few days ago. That's literally 15 days ago. Sarah informed Hassan that she would like for her sons to move in with her, while Hassan remains in the old house. She instructed Hassan to move all of her remaining property and that of the children from the old house where Hassan was staying to the new one where she lives. She then told Hassan that whenever he wished to see the children, he should let her know so she can arrange for the visits. So Hassan told her he would do as she had instructed and take the remaining property of hers to the house on Friday night, which he did. Sarah didn't let him enter the house. She took all the belongings he brought and the babies and left Hassan outside. Hassan remained at the door for almost an hour, knocking. Sarah refused to open the door for him. Okay. The following day, August 26, was Hassan's 46th birthday. Early that morning, Sarah sent him a message. Happy birthday, friend. We are better off as friends than lovers. On his birthday? Okay. You need to look for where you'll be staying because I have to get rid of the old house. I wish you well in life. I have moved on. Okay. Now let me pause for a second here. We have moved on. We're almost done. I don't have much choice than to take this story on face value first. Okay. On face value first, this is just a sad story altogether. Right? It's just a bad, sad story. Okay? And ladies, you need to understand that men are humans. Okay? I know I'm saying that in words, and you probably knew that already. But you need to internalize that all the way. Like, make it a thing. Like, normalize the idea that men are human beings. Okay? But particularly, they don't have the luxury of expressing their emotions. Anyhow, no one is going to save them off the street when they start crying like a bitch. They're going to say, get your ass up and stop crying. That's the reality. Well, men enabled it, maybe you're right, okay? Women enabled it, maybe you're right, but it's the reality, nonetheless, of the reality of men, okay? So some of them, is this an excuse? No, it's not an excuse, okay? I'm just basically highlighting what we already see here, right? You just don't know where people are coming from, okay? So that kind, I say this all the time. Text messages are not for emotionally charged conversations. Therefore, I love you. Therefore, happy birthday. I'll talk to you later. That's what text messages are for. They're not for things like, you lazy man. They're not for that. You see, you are doing that stupid thing again. They're not for things like that, okay? Because just like we always say when it's comfortable, right? Just like we always say when it's convenient, right? You don't know anybody's threshold when it comes to emotions, right? As far as he's wrong, yes, he's going to jail for the rest of his life, if not completely deleted. That's the reality. I just want us to pay attention to that before I go into all the extra nuances that will be complete speculation by default, because I'm just reading. They're telling on themselves in the story as well. But I wanted to say that because it's very, very important that I say that, right? It's not a crime that a person wants to move on from a marriage, okay? But much wisdom is needed on how you do that. Very, very important before I continue into the rest of this analysis, okay? Anyway, so you need to look for, and I quote, this is what she reportedly, allegedly said. You need to look for where you will be staying because I have to get rid of the whole house. I wish you well in life. I have moved on. A few hours later, the children called their dad to get some groceries. And he told them he would bring them in the evening. So the children probably had no idea what text messages. If this story is true, they had no idea what text messages were exchanged, right? They probably didn't. He told them he would bring them in the evening. At about 6:30 p.m., he called the kids that he was on his way to the house with the groceries. When he got there, he knocked and the children opened the door for him. Hassan then asked for their mom. They told him he was in the shower. They told him, I guess she was in the shower. It's a she, right? There's a typo here that say he. Okay. Nigerians, I make that mistake too. Let's continue. He entered and went to the bathroom. Brought out, the Irin tutu. And basically deleted her by way of the head, in the chest and in the leg. He then called 911. Hello, I just deleted the bitch. This is the address. I'm waiting for you. He sat down on the floor beside Sarah's body. The cops came and the first responders rushed Sarah to the hospital. She was still breathing and she passed 2 hours after she got to the hospital. Mr. Adeyemo is now at the Orange County Jail in Florida. He is most likely facing a deletion sentence or life in prison without parole. Now, here's the thing. That's the end of the story right there. This story was painted to manipulate women to Japa marriage to just accept anything. That's what this story is trying to do. Okay, that's what I'm reading through it. I'm not saying it's not true. Remember, somebody wrote the story and they painted a certain type of picture. The idea is to manipulate you, if you're a woman, that just accept anything. Okay? The truth is that nothing lasts forever. Sometimes it's by way of to death do us part. Sometimes it just runs its course. Okay? That's what I'm reading in this thus far. Okay? There's a lot of children taking sides. She doesn't cook anymore, right? All those kind of stuff. Yes, it would be nice for your woman to cook, but if your woman stopped cooking, if you want her to cook, there's a way to go about that, right? If you have a woman who is making a lot of money and your circumstances happens to be a situation where you're not able to make money, that's temporary. If you don't believe that's temporary, you're going to act like a maniac. You're going to act mad. Okay, and it will affect, it could destroy everything you've ever been cooking. Speaking of cooking, right? So you need to realize, first of all, believe in yourself that is temporary. If you believe in yourself that's temporary, your woman will follow suit because you are leading in that respect. If she has pride, if you are sensing pride in that moment in time, how you respond to that is still your responsibility. How you react to that, still your responsibility. In fact, how you take care of yourself. In fact, how you assess yourself for your temperament is always your responsibility. Okay? Now, the village is responsible overall. Because when it becomes life and death, the village, we need to really talk this. We need to talk about this. Okay? So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna fly through some of your comments. Okay, I'm not sure I can cover the other story today. I think we should just focus on this. I don't know. Even reading it stressed the shit out of me, man. Honestly, I'm being honest with you. Even just reading it stressed me out. I'm just being honest with you. Okay. Oh, let's see. I'm just gonna drop the link, and then I'll go through the chat. And then we'll go from there. I'm gonna come to your chat right now in a second. All right. Play message. All right, so let's do that. All right, so let's come here. That was stressful. Jesus, I could feel. Let me drink some water, I beg. All right. When you're ready, okay, I dropped the link already, Natu, when you're ready. I can't even imagine what those children are going through. Yeah, it's going to take a minute. She's from Plateau State, not Bauchi. Ninja ain't no soldier because he was unable to prove it. Uh-oh. Yeah, so here's the thing. This is going to be a court case. It's going to be public records. As this story uncover itself, we'll try to cover it, okay? I will try to remember to keep coming back to it. It's going to be public records. Then we can see what the evidences and stuff say in the court. All right. They love these Cinderella narratives as though the woman had a missing shoe. Marriott, what's going on with you? Where have you been? A missing shoe, and it was a prince providing everything. Yeah, that's what that person was trying to do, obviously. Whoever wrote the story was to make Hassan look like a victim. Bloggers. So they paid bloggers to do that, probably. Trying to control narrative is too late now. It was a big man, right? I sense bias in the story. Yep. Here says Cap. Does this person know them personally? Well, we don't know. It's posted on Nairaland. Okay. .com. So, just to prove that, it's right here on Nairaland Forum, which has been there forever, by the way. This is one of the oldest Nigerian websites. So it was posted here. The user is somebody called Colidia. I don't know what it is, but it's been spread around different places too. Again, like I said, I saw it through Humble Prince first. All right. She probably became the children's favorite because she was caring towards the kids. It's probably more so care. Anytime people focus on money in their ideologies, they fail. I call Cap instantly because money follows value, not the other way around. Money follows value, not the other way around. When I say value, a heavy part of that composition is emotions. Okay? Yes, even when we're talking about the stock market. Okay? Notice how they frame his hard work as positive and hers for the family as negative. I didn't even know you were Yoruba, Marriott. I had no idea. So they're over here lying with that article. Again, I had to take it on face value because it's a report first, right? And say, hey, It's possible that there's elements of truth in this story. Just because of that alone, we should look at it as, okay, let's look at this as this. Okay, understand that there's some people are mad already. By the time it's showing up, it's too late. By the time you realize that they are mad, there's a lot of damages, irreversible damages already. So you have to look at that first squarely before we get into the analysis. Gentleman called gentleman. Gentleman that carries ibon, our people shall, and they need to shalaye. You see, exactly. When I was reading it to my wife last night, I was like, as a gentleman, except that it's deleted the whole person. Okay, all right, let's continue. Like, okay, I don't know why you need to tell me he's a gentleman. It's too late to start doing that shalaye right now, because you go shalaye, explain tired.
You go explain because no evidence.
No evidence. The children are also enemy combatants. Yes, the story painted the children as enemies. You know? And that's one of the major reasons why I look at the story sideways. Okay. Let's see. Let's continue. Oh, emasculate. May God help me. I can't keep up with the terminologies. You know, I can't. God bless you and your entire generation. Your head carry fresh oil. What did she say? Let me see. Did she say something? Gentlemen that carry. Okay. Okay. The gentleman that carry Ibon. I don't believe this crap, Lobaton. Bought a house and they moved in. I'm sure this person got an A. Bought a house. Wahala, wow. An A in English literature. Listen, let's see. I wonder who sent these lies to Naraland. Me too. Somebody that was obviously not very wise, because that's not going to help anything, right? That story is not going to help anything. Their relationship broke down somewhere. Yeah. You know, financial strain, a man that feels less than, which they mentioned there, can create strain in a relationship, can create stress and strain a relationship. That's the reality, right? But again, like I always said, there's no solutions that will make you avoid crisis. It doesn't exist. Don't let anybody lie to you. Okay? Don't let anybody tell you, if you follow this, you will avoid crisis. No. Crisis will come from your blind spots. The question is, are you prepared to handle this crisis? Are you prepared to seek wise counsel so you can handle crisis and conflict when they do show up? And most people are not prepared. What they're doing is creating cookie cutter solutions that will never work. A lot of them are talking points, right? And those talking points only create blind spots. Like, for example, the example we just covered, that somebody said divorce is not an option. It's a talking point. It sounds nice and cute, depending on what angle you're looking at it from, right? Remember, depending on what angle you're looking at it from, right? What about the blind spot? Like the massive blind spot behind you that you will never see. If you turn around, there's another blind spot. What about that one? Right? Well, it starts with awareness. There's always a blind spot, right? And you need other people to help you, to say, hey, you didn't see this coming. Okay, it's okay. We're all like that. All of us are like that. I was talking to one of my older brothers that's helping us with the sponsorship of the event that's coming up in December, and he was like, I don't come into people's matter because I have my own. It's nothing bigger than that. I have my own, right? So anyway, if it happened, not to assist you, I'll come right to you. If it happened that way, that's wrong as hell, but still not sure if this is true. Yeah, if it's happened, yeah, it's wrong. Nothing new, right? And I guess the storyteller and what truth tellers are right. Now she's received what she deserves. Is that the picture you're trying to paint? That she got what she deserved? Because you're a weirdo. If you wrote that story like that, that was your intention, to paint that picture like that, you are a weirdo. Okay? Tobisi, I totally agree. Some men are emotionally damaged. Don't poke the bear. Break up with them with wisdom. Your life is important. That's very, very important in this story. Ladies, it's very, very important. The reality is that as men, we do bottle up a lot of emotions. It's part of our coping mechanisms. It's basically what our experience requires. Oftentimes, because of social construct, we try our best to. Those of us that know better, we try our best to create systems around ourselves where we can be vulnerable. I feel safe to share with my wife, right? But a lot of wives don't necessarily, they don't help with a man feeling safe to share, because he might be shamed in the next hour with what he shared, right? So it's a very delicate thing, and a lot of men don't realize that the internet is not the barbershop. The internet will never be the barbershop. You need to find some of your buddies that's well balanced, not somebody that has gone through the same experience, who will tell you that you need to kick out to the curb. Not that person. That person's a weirdo too. I'm talking about people that are well balanced. Preferably, they are in a situation where they are well balanced. They might have gone through stuff, but they've seen the ups and downs, the yins and the yangs, and they can give you a well balanced counsel, right? But we have a lot of our folks moving mad, and the worst part about it is that they're not engaging in education with regards to relationships and marriage. They're winging things along. Wherever you just wake up another day anyhow, you know. So, yep. I agree with your point, MOP. If you want your woman to cook, there is a way around it. Yep. And if she stopped cooking because there's been crisis, you need to handle the underlying reasons first, the crisis, and stop running around the streets of the internet, talking about she's not cooking. Why is she not cooking? Because she used to cook, Abby. So what happened? Tell us everything, not just the side that justifies your own side. Everything. Maybe you're not capable of telling everything because you don't know how to hold yourself accountable. That is a real thing. You're not alone. Majority of us, we have a hard time holding ourselves accountable. We are quicker to point fingers than to self-reflect. But if you want to create extraordinary results in anything, you're going to have to rise above that, or what we call average, right? You're not going to be able to use that as an excuse, right? That, oh, everybody does that. That's not an excuse. That's a terrible excuse. Ignorance is not an excuse, ever. Especially not now, right? My husband does not force me to cook every day. For that reason, once he wants to eat something, I make it no argument. You know? Exactly. So let me bring Natu. Natu, how far? How you doing? Natu,
I'm fine.
Natu.
I'm here.
What's going on?
A little background noise. I just got off work and got off the train.
Oh, you did? Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So you said you wanted to give us an update.
So, right, the person that told me the story, like, I will send the screenshot after this live. He knows them personally. That's one. But one thing that made me believe a lot of stuff that he was telling me, he said he knows her as a very sweet person.
Knows her as a very strict person.
Yes, no, sweet person.
Oh, sweet person. Okay.
Yes, but what my friend said, he said, but the husband might say otherwise. When it comes to marriage, you can already know person from the other side, and the spouse will know from the other side.
Yes,
that was what my friend said.
Yes.
All right. Now, I will have told you that I know this woman personally because I had 2 occasions that I was supposed to meet her, which didn't happen.
Really?
One.
Oh, wow.
Yes, one. This my friend told me that there's this lady in Orlando that braids. She's from the north. When next you come to Florida, we need to hook up so that you meet her. Because we from the north are not plenty. We need to form our own association, and I'm like, really need to. Right. So when I went to Florida, he was out of town and we didn't meet. But while I was in Florida in January, my friend's roommate was supposed to go braid her hair at this woman's place. Okay. And they messed up her appointment. And the woman was trying to rearrange it for her, but because she was going on a vacation, she was upset. And my friend, not the woman, my friend's roommate just canceled it. So, but my friend was like, we're going to go to this lady's place because Nadia is braiding her hair. She's from the north. She's very nice. You're going to meet her and see how people are making money in this hair business. We need to open a salon. But because that one was upset and canceled our appointment, we didn't make it to the woman's place. Now I'm going back to the whole story on the internet. Because every time I see anything, I screenshot and send to that my friend, I ask him. The truth is that they've never lived in separate houses. That's number one.
They did
Number
not live in
two,
separate houses, right?
no, they did not.
Okay.
Did she buy a second house? Yes, she did.
Okay.
But the second house was meant to be for Airbnb. And
Got
this
you,
guy
for
that is,
business.
this guy that's our friend is supposed to list it for them. He sent me the pictures. He went and took pictures of the new house to help them list it. That was like a couple of days before this thing happened. But because he was busy, he promised her that weekend he was going to help her do it. The SUV that man was driving, she gave him $7,000 cash to put down for the down payment of the SUV.
Right.
That's so what they're talking about. I believe she driving him, she disrespecting him. What I knew that she did that intimidated him was that she did a body makeover.
She did a body. She did a body makeover.
Yeah.
That's why I couldn't see. That's why we can't see gap anymore. She had a gap.
Yeah, she did a makeover. So I don't know if you felt like a little intimidated by that. Which is possible. We're married people, so we know how that works.
Yeah, because if I'm looking at this picture right here, she had a gap here on this picture here.
And she didn't have it anymore.
Right, and she doesn't have it anymore on the newer picture that everybody's taking around.
So I was now asking the guy. I said, "Is it true that he's an IT guy?" He was like, "No." Was he a soldier? He was like, "No," because I asked him some personal questions about the military and he couldn't verify it. So I don't know where they're getting that information from.
Well, the soldier part was he was a soldier earlier on as a 21-year-old in Nigeria. That's possible.
Bro, but they asked him a question about him being in the military and whatnot. If you are with your full chest, you know now. So even that LinkedIn this thing he did, we're all Nigerians. We know how people like boost their resume and whatever, pep it up to like make people think that you're doing this and that. Even this job that I got, I put a lot of stuff on my resume that I wasn't doing just to get the job.
Right. That's,
you have to.
So
it's right. So it's normal.
So that's probably what the LinkedIn is.
Yes, but for the soldier thing, I don't think I will go through something like that. I want to deny it or not have proof for it. Like
wait. Did somebody ask him directly?
Yes.
Who asked him?
Yeah,
directly?
this is our friend. I'm telling you. I'll tell you the screenshot of the chat after this thing. He said he asked me some stuff about being in the military personally, and the guy couldn't verify it. Because this is my friend I'm telling you about.
What was the relation between your friend and him?
So this my friend met Sarah in Orlando, and she found out that he's from the north because he's from Adeyemo, and she now took him like her brother. So he goes to the house, like she gives him food. So he said this part about not cooking. He's like, when he goes to Sarah's house, he's got food for like 1 week. She'll pack food for him. Like, let me give you soup. Because his wife is Nigerian, she has not come here yet. So he will like, let me give you food, let me give you soup, let me give you this. And the husband used to say, when the guy comes around, he'll be like, hey, you don't come my house, so my wife will pack all our food, give her brother now. Her brother is here. Because that's what she calls him. So he knows them. He's even telling me that this man wants to start car importation business for people that buy cars. So he registered a business. This my friend supposed to create a website for him because the guy is a pilot and he's good with IT too. This is our friend.
Yeah.
He said he created what is it called? Complimentary card for him. And then he's supposed to create a website for him. He even bought the domain name already.
Right.
And everything. And this guy has not paid him. I said you'll get it from his jail allowance.
Wow.
I said wait for jail allowance, you get money from there. But so he was giving me that download. He's like, this is what the guy is trying to go into that business because I was encouraging him to do it since he likes cars.
Right.
So he's gonna start onto that business. People that buy cars from Nigeria, all these people that buy online from Copac and the rest, he's gonna be handling the shipping for them. So that was what he wanted to go into. That never happened.
Yeah. So I'm starting to believe the depression part, right?
Gotcha.
The depression part is real, right? The issue with a lot of Nigerians, and I hear it online all the time, is that they don't believe in anything that's labeling anything as a mental health condition.
No, they don't.
They're not open.
Do you know how long it took? You know how long it took my husband to go to therapy? He said we don't need therapy.
Yeah.
Like boldly, he told me I had to start going to therapy by myself.
Right.
My dad started seeing changes
Yeah.
before he enrolled in his own. Like the day he enrolled, I didn't believe it. I did not believe that man away because he told me, we started couple therapy. We did 2 sessions. He called the guy and canceled. He's like, it's not working.
Yeah.
I'm like, what are you talking about?
Because many people just go there and argue, and everything, marriage, relationships, mental health, people are looking for quick results, like instant results. They're not patient with themselves. Like, listen, if you're anybody above 25 years of age, wherever your age is, that's the number of years that you've been yourself. You can't expect to adjust on a faulty side of your temperament or personality or how you show up in relationships. You can't expect to fix that overnight. It's not. The only thing you can do on first day is identify what you're looking for. What is the exact result you're looking to achieve? And then we draw out a plan on how to get there. That's all you can do on the first day.
And also the backstory of like she being the kid's favorite parent.
Right.
It's not true. This is the story behind that one. Okay. She has 3 girls. She does hairdressing. She has trained all her girls to know how to do that business very well. So sometimes instead of her bringing somebody from outside and paying the person, she will let her daughters do it to make their own money. Tell me what is wrong in that, please.
I mean, they're 20. The first one, according to that story, is 3 years old.
Yeah, I think 22 or something like that.
Yeah. So there's nothing wrong with that.
He said all the things. So they're always in the shop with her because they're doing that with her. They're helping her. She's teaching them. So it's listen, we've had a situation where our dad said that we prefer our mom more than him, and my mom herself we prefer our father more than her. So that's very common with parents. And their mom is doing something that she feels she can empower her kids, and she's dragging them into it. So I don't know if he's having problems there because the girls are becoming very independent too, that they can source for some things by themselves. I don't know. I feel like he's supposed to be proud of that.
If that was me, now it's easier said than done, okay? Because pride is not anybody's mate. If you are soaked up in your pride, it's very difficult. The way you will see it is that I can't accept nonsense. That's how you will see it.
NOP. let me tell you something. I started doing business when I was 14.
Okay.
My dad was a vet doctor. My mom was my mom, she's a teacher, but she's retired. My parents, they had decent salary, good for us. But I started business at 14, and my parents supported me so bad. One of my uncles was saying that why would my dad be in this position? And he retired as a director of the federal government. Why would my dad be in this position and let us be doing all of this? My dad is like, no, let them be independent. My dad made me have a petty book that if they need something in the house, he would make me give them the money and I write it down. At the end of the month, I'll then tell him how much he has collected and I'll charge him 10% interest on top. I was making kunu at 14. I was making quiz cake supply in my area. Yes, I was making 300 in a day from kunu at that time at 14. This is like 26 years ago.
You see, there is no. Hold on one second. Let me read this chat real quick. African men will tell you straight up that any little thing, Americans start going to therapy because they do not have mental strength. I know that's a very ignorant statement, right? And I'm like, we have a lot of trauma that can help our men to address some issues that can make them better men.
I mean, just digress a little bit, right? I was listening to your podcast today, and it was talking about the Perrys. Remember this? I don't know what's her name, Jackie Perry and her husband.
Jackie Perry, who's that?
Yeah, she's a preacher.
Oh, a preacher? No, I don't know them.
Yeah, they have a podcast, the Perry. And they were talking about how bad the church is lacking when it comes to men, and we're only having more women in the church because pastors are forgetting that these men, they don't need you to just guide them or to tell them what to do, but they need to be mentored and discipled. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because they say something like the reason why some men don't go to church is because a man wants to be celebrated. That's the masculine thing that is there. But when you get to a church and the person, but when you get to a church and your pastor is the only person people are celebrating and talking about, you don't want to be there. So now it's the pastor's job to now break that this thing and be able to make himself reachable to these men, mentor them and disciple them. But no, they want to focus on women and how women can be good wives and forgetting how to train these men to be good men. Yeah. And the person posting talking about, oh, he was a good and gentleman. Good and gentleman, like my sister said in the chat, what are you doing with Bindiga?
Yeah. It's you know, that's a little bit too late to be painting that picture. Not after somebody's life just.
When I saw the whole story, I'm just like, these people just trying to make it look, because she's not here to tell her story now, so they will say anything. For the man, I mean,
well, it's Shalaye with no evidence, so it's going to court. They're going to drag it out, you know. It's going to be rough for that family, you know, because she's the main breadwinner. I'm sure the kids will continue, you know, but it's going to be hard for them to forgive him. It's going to be a hard journey for them. You know?
The eldest daughter says she doesn't want to have anything to do with him.
Well,
the eldest daughter says she doesn't want to have anything to do with him.
Yeah, it's tough. Anyway, it's tough. But anyway, I was saying when you look at this story, right? If it was me, I want to say first of all, it's easier said than done. When you're soaked up in your emotions, especially if it's pride in nature, right? If you're caught up in, oh, your wife is doing better than you, and you've tried and tried and tried, and then you start to question your own capabilities, right? When you start to mess with your ego, it's a very difficult thing to go through. It's going to you have to humble yourself. Just like anything that's worthwhile in life, you will be humbled. So when you've been humbled like that, to accept this is another stage entirely, right? There's no how big that business is, right? The biggest business in this world right now, there's a big ass career page on their website where they are still hiring people. Right. You know why? Because there's always a place to add value, right? There's always some kind of need that they have. Even if it's as simple as to replace somebody else that's not being useful for them, right? But there's always a place. So even these are the biggest entities in the world, biggest superstar, rock stars, right? That you can say they don't need you. They need something. So no matter how rich your wife is, she's making $1,000 a day, whatever, right?
She's making 4,000, minimum 4,000 a day, not 1,000.
So if she's making that kind of money, her problems are bigger than yours. You can be part of our solutions. You just need to sit down and find where you can help her. It could be in scaling the business. It could be in optimizing the business. It could be, it could start with something as simple as running errands. In your head, you're thinking, your ego is telling you, I can't be running errands for my wife, right? But someone like me will look at this as, Baba, you got money. My wife, God bless you. God bless you. We're going to take this to the world. My children.
You know this thing that you're saying, right? I could relate to when my husband moved from Nigeria to America. And it took him a month and a half to start working because someone was ready to give him a job already as a security guard, someone that I know. And he was waiting for his green card and everything to come in. And even when my husband started working, so imagine that you are an MD in Nigeria and you come here to be a security guard. It was a struggle.
It's a humbling. It's a humbling experience. But I hope your husband understands this moment. That moment is the best moment of his life because to give him a frame of reference.
But let me tell you something. Exactly. But let me tell you something. It took time for him to be humble because he could not wrap his head around it.
I know. It's
so
tough.
Now I was the one that was receiving the backlash. It was a huge. We had. Listen, I don't even know how we're still together today. Because we were fighting that time all the time, every damn time. Because you have a job, you're driving to your job, blah, blah, blah. You go 9 to 5. I get odd hours. I have to work this. I'm standing the whole day. I'm working in the snow. Now, when I'm tired of fighting, and I have to borrow myself some more sense, after Pastor tried talking to a plenty counseling session, didn't work. I started borrowing myself sense. I started praying more. And God started instructing me. See, the first time God said, pray for your husband. I had a conversation with God in that car. I said, like, God, you didn't know what this man told me.
Like what?
Pray! God, this man cost me. Pray how? No. For 4 days, I was refusing to pray. I'm telling you that. I went back and forth. But when I started doing it, what happened? My husband was so humble to the place that he came and said, babe, I want to write a certification. This is what is going to cost me. I cannot contribute this amount.
Yeah, it goes. If a woman is able to see these things this way you're saying it right now, it goes a long way in helping him.
So he was like, can you chip in? I'm like, sure. I told him I was driving my husband to Maryland and take a class every Saturday. I did that for 8 weeks before COVID hit.
Yeah.
Every day, every Saturday to Maryland.
Not to think about it like this, right? The pride and the ego, for you on the receiving end of it, it looks like a weapon, right?
Right.
But it's actually a weakness, right?
Mm-hmm.
He needs you. You know, the social construct paints a picture that men don't need women, right? But these are actually the moments when they need you the most, right? Now, the other side of it is that should you be pouring from an empty cup? I don't think you should pour from an empty cup.
No.
But you're probably already pouring from an empty cup when you engage your own ego and you want to show him shege too.
You are so right about that.
So
because
that's going to consume your energy anyway.
Because I'm like, it's going to be a shege competition. That's what I used to say.
Yes, it's not a competition.
I said we will show ourselves shege.
And no one benefits from that. You don't benefit from it. It doesn't.
And when I tell you that I have mouth, I mean I have mouth. Because I can be keeping quiet, but the day I say I will talk, you don't like me. But like sometimes if it's my husband will do something and he look at me like, oh, my wife don't change you. Because I'll just be pressing my phone.
Right.
Like, no, we're not going to do that.
Yeah, so those are some really, really big lessons there. I think it's a matter of, for somebody who got caught up in their emotions, pride, ego, depression was real in that.
It's for you willing to learn, willing to like allow yourself open to get help from your partner. Because sometimes when you're getting that help, because I remember there was a time my mom used to say, is it because you're doing this thing? Is it because I'm like, you need to stop telling me that. I don't
that will start triggering you. That will start triggering you the opposite direction too.
It was. And honestly speaking, he himself would tell you until he stopped saying some words, he didn't understand fully the wife that he had.
Yeah.
Do you understand? Because he wasn't getting the best of me. Because I was giving bare minimum.
But it's good that you went through that. Because
I'm glad we did.
Yeah, because a lot of people they don't understand the blessing in the crisis. They don't understand the blessing in the conflict, right? All they see is just I'm a victim, right? And if you've gone through this kind of situation and you come out on the other side, it makes you appreciate what you have even more.
Oh yes.
You know, then you tend to nurture it even more. But unfortunately,
just a quick story, right, MFP? Just a quick story. So I used to be like, when we fight that time, and I'll be like, how did I end up with this guy? I'm not joking.
Yeah, you will question compatibility. You will question it was the wrong choice. You will question maybe it was the foundation. Yes. You know, people are starting to say that now. It's like once they start saying it too much, I say, okay, it's not. It is not. It's not any of those things.
When I started channeling spiritually, I started seeing some things. First of all, I don't like cooking. Number one.
Oh, you don't?
This one does not bother me. That's why I started having my blessings. Yeah.
Right.
I said once I just show up with a straight face, this one will say we are ordering food. I'm telling you. All I just need to say is that I don't feel good.
That's
once
good.
I say that,
if it's in a place of understanding like that, that's all it takes.
Yes.
A woman. The way I look at it is this, right? If my wife can't cook or she doesn't like cooking, right? I would like her to cook something for me once in a while. That looks
once
like
a week.
Yeah, that
once
looks
a
like
week, twice a week.
No, I'm even talking about the effect of her.
Right.
I recognize that as a gift because I know she doesn't like cooking.
See, I cooked on Sunday and I didn't have to cook Monday, yesterday, Sunday, Monday, and yesterday. But yesterday he was like, we had rice and we had soup, and he was like, oh, I feel like eating pepper soup. And I'm like, okay, let me bring out the goat meat. And he was like, no, don't worry about it. I'm like, no, we're making pepper soup this night because I had 3 days off that I didn't have to cook.
Right.
So, but now because he wanted that, I was gonna make that.
Right. It's just like a gift. It's like a nice gesture, right? As opposed to, because a woman who can cook, who actually can live, breathe, and cook all the time, when she gives you food, see finish, go enter that one, It's like she doesn't appreciate that she's giving. She doesn't appreciate the idea that she's giving you food because it's nothing to her. You don't appreciate it because you get it all the time, right? So again, it is case by case by case by case. Everyone is different. Everyone's situation is different, right? So eventually, when people see the same story over and over, they start projecting it everywhere like it's what's happening to everybody. You know?
Right. Okay. So let me finish the story real quick. So, and then I started comparing because I was like, my twin sister's husband goes to do their grocery, blah blah blah. But let me tell you the downside of the story. My twin sister cooks every day. Because the husband likes fresh food. So I'm like, wait a second, why am I comparing?
Yeah, you need to compare the other side too.
But no, because I was saying that he's not doing what my sister's husband was not doing. But now I forgot the things that I was benefiting from.
That's what I'm saying. And you need to, if you're going to compare, you need to compare all the way around.
And then lastly, because I had a rape history when I was younger.
Okay.
So that affected my sex life a little bit.
Okay.
But I was able to open up to my husband and he was able to walk around it with me.
Right.
So, and then one day in your show, at Auntie B's show, and then back in your show, the same day, they were talking. You guys were talking about how people, once they just have issues in their marriages, they want to throw it away, and people don't want to like work on their marriages. And Auntie B was making situations where she's like, "I'm not encouraging people to break up if they have problems. DV is not the same as like regular marriage problem that you work on. When people have issues, like you have to check your side and check your husband's side. Like you get grace on some things, and you have to give. And then I came back to your show, and you were talking about giving grace because the person give you grace too. And I said, you know what? Let me go work on my shit. And I was like, that was when I started doing myself strength.
It's true all the time. It's true all the time because it's a yin yang thing. People want to talk about reactions and actions. The truth is that every action is a form of reaction. You just might not see what is being reacted to.
Yes, yeah.
You know.
Yes, every day. My sister is a chef too, so she loves cooking. She doesn't have a problem with that.
Yeah. So you can't. So when you're measuring against other people or using other people as your benchmark, let's be guided, right? Let's be guided. Make sure you assess the situation. You really want to just become a better of yourself. You want your relationship to be better than itself, not compared to other people. With that being said, there's a place where there's a benchmark across society and say this is what things are supposed to look like. But we have to be guided ultimately. When is the right time for me to say, this is what you should normalize? I'll tell you. When is the right time? I want you to look at yourself, right? Ultimately, if we were to look at where you should spend most of your energy is in yourself and becoming a better version of yourself every day, right? If you focus on that, by the time you're looking at the society and everybody else, you've outpaced most people. You've outpaced most people as opposed to you're now looking at them every day. You're spending your energy looking at other people, So this depression comes from that too. Depression comes from consuming social media too much, out of control, right? So we really have to be careful with that, So in this story,
social media can be positive and negative too.
No, social media is a double-edged sword, just like anything else in life. You can't blame social media for anything. It's the reality of our life, our experience, right? The only thing you can do with it is manage your experience around it. That's all you can do with it. And if you put any energy into trying to shame social media, you just collect. Because it's just a waste of energy. Nothing is going to change, But let me get your last word, Natsu. Let's round it up right here because I feel like,
just like you said, sometimes we just need to put more energy on ourselves. And I'll tell you for free, sorry.
That noise is a lot.
Yeah.
No worry. We'll go continue the story another time if it's noisy on your end.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Later. All right. So, all right. So in this story, what I see is shout out to all of you, 14 of you watching me live right now, and to hundreds of you that will watch this later. Let me know in the comment when you do come back later that you were here to watch the replay. Let me say this to you, okay? It's not a question if the story is true. We know that story was painted in a way to make him look innocent. It's as simple as that, okay? But usually with these issues, they are laced with truth. all different types of versions of truth, right? Which is why some people will say, well, some people are going through that. Yeah, I know that. Okay. However, I'm calling cap on throwing all of the children into a box. One of the children were born in 2018. That's 6 years ago. The children, a 6 years old child cannot. What about that one? That one is against you too. So there's a lot going on there. I do believe in the depression part of it. I believe that pride played a big part in this. Yes, on her part as well, because it's very difficult, especially if you're trying to help someone, right? And they don't want to seek help, or they don't want to use your help, or they're too prideful to get your help. Pride will take you on as well, right? It's just what it is. It will take you on. And then if you, in a typical woman, if she's doing better than you, and you're overreacting to the fact that she's doing better than you, every single ounce of her behavior is going to come off as pride, particularly to a person that's feeling depressed. It just makes sense, right? So at some point, somebody needs to shut everything down. And I prefer that it's person that's complaining, right? So in this case right now, she's gone. Unfortunately, sadly, the person that would be complaining or trying to paint this picture as person talking, and they're probably going to tell more on themselves. Because if it was a lawyer listening to this story, they're going to be like, okay, all right, this is off the record. They said, this one is off the record. Tell me this, that. Okay, some things are on the record. The police will tell you, well, you have the right to remain silent because everything you say shall be used against you. Shall be used against you, Ni. Right? Why? Because they know you're probably going to do shalaye and explaining with no evidence.
We go explain because no evidence.
Right? That's why they said shut up. But somebody who is stupid enough is still going out there to put out a stupid story on Nairaland trying to paint the deceased as bad. Even if she was bad when she was here, she's no longer here. Could make sense. It makes no sense. It's wrong. Go wrong now. Right? Because there's no justice that will ever be good enough for that. Right? But let's rewind the times back to before August 26. If you find yourself in that situation, gentlemen, your wife is moving like she's prideful. That's how you see it, at least. And that's all that matters. That's how you see it. That's how you see it. How I see it is different. But what I can tell you is that you might want to check your mindset, because that is your wife, not my wife. Right? What is it that you can flip on the head? Right? Because your interpretations of the event of life will drive your next move, will determine the next best move. Right? Life events are happening every time. Somebody is looking on the other side, is looking at it half glass full, the other person is looking at half glass empty. Right? There's one of those or somewhere in between that will help you with the next best move, so you don't destroy yourself in the process. Right? Suru, laughing shoko obìnrin, especially if she's making more money than you. Right? That's temporary, by the way. No condition is permanent. But if you believe that's permanent, you will move mad. You will move mad. Right? How can you add value to that situation? She's making a whole lot of money. That usually means that she has more problems than you. More more money, more problems. You never heard that before? So how can you add value? That means there's more ways you can add value to her life. Just not the way you were taught in Ogbomo show. That's all. It's just not that way that you were taught in Oshogbo. Now you have to rethink. You need to renew your mind. You have to retrain yourself. Like, well, somebody has more money. Good for her. Good for us. Because that means there's more ways I can add value to her life. No, but she's not letting me into her life. Like, calm down. You haven't even taken the time to assess what we're talking about. Go and take 3 days to think about it first before you argue with your destiny. Go and take 3 days. There's no way you're going to identify how you're going to add value to her if you've already found yourself in a funky place where you're feeling depressed, where you're feeling like the whole world is against you. You're not going to figure that out right now. First thing first, know that when a person has more money, they have more problems than you. right? And if they're in a relationship with you, that means you can help them. You just need to identify how you're going to help them, though. Okay? In a way that they will, if it's actually helping them, they will be receptive of it. If it's just your own idea of helping them, they might not be receptive of it. In that way, you have to go back to the drawing board and redraw. Listen, active listening, right? If there's been damages in the past, you've overreacted, it's going to take you a little bit extra work for them to be able to trust you again. It just makes sense, okay? Okay, maybe not. Okay, maybe that's common sense, okay? But get some sense. It's going to take a little bit extra work, okay? If the trust has been broken, if there has been betrayal, right? But if they are a human being, if that person is a human being, they have something they care about. There's a problem they're trying to solve right now. They will break into pieces. If you become value to them, if you look like value to them, they will eat it up. They will eat you all up like Indomie. But that's your homework. How are you going to become valuable to them? That's seduction. That's going to inevitably create attraction. If you understand attraction as energy, okay, it takes time, process, patience, right? Start by not being so defensive when it comes to these topics. If your result is not what you're looking for, there's a reason. Okay, a lot of it is probably your ignorance. You just don't know what you don't know. It is what it is. You don't know what you don't know, right? Your solutions are not going to be talking points. They're not going to be things like respect, submission, divorce is not an option. No, it's going to take you a little bit more than that, than just talking. You have to demonstrate these things in action. Because people, that's what they're watching at the end of the day, right? Their feelings, your action. Their feelings, your actions. That's it. All the rest of it is just shalaye.
Explain. Because no evidence.
All right? That's all I have for you today. That's it. Hopefully you've been enlightened and educated. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.
Your love that I've been missing. I miss all your hugs, your touching and kissing. Make love on the floor, the couch in the kitchen. One love enough, we done enough.